Now. Alright, Darling in the Franxx is fucking finally over, and I'm here to give my unbiased review of what the fuck Darling in the Franxx was. Now, the divine anime named Darling in the Franxx, and when I mean divine, that's according to the people in the anime community saying this is the best show of 2018. And now I'll give my unbiased and legitimate review of what is maybe soon to be, or even guaranteed to be the best anime of 2018, according to the anime community. I'll just go ahead and mention it, and I did not dislike nor hate Darling in the Franxx. To be completely transparent and honest, it was far from it. However, I do have my share of criticism and praise, in which this video will be mainly covering into. But before that, let's get down to some information about Darling in the Franxx. So Darling in the Franxx was co-produced by both Trigger and Cloverworks Studios. So I know what you're thinking, what the fuck is Cloverworks Studios? So I did the research for you and came to the conclusion that Cloverworks Studios is just a branch off of A1 Pictures. They were established relatively new, and their first anime debut was released back in January of this year. From the works I've seen in Slow Start, I can honestly say I never finished it, so to its fairness I can't give a residing answer, cause I'm an uncultured prude who can't appreciate the modern moe culture. But something I've learned from those painstakingly unbearable 3 episodes I've invested in, I can safely say Slow Start did have animations worth mentioning. So let all anime fans rejoice to the father of God of anime, as we here have another studio worth looking forward to in the upcoming future. So going back to Darling in the Franxx, Darling in the Franxx looks way similar if you're not new to the anime community. I definitely saw the works Cloverworks have put into the series with professional writing and directing help from Trigger as well. If you still haven't noticed already by me mentioning A1 Pictures, the animes I'm much referring to are Anohana and Seven Deadly Sins. Those are the shows that you really see the influence reside from. As for Trigger talent, we have Atsushi Nishigori, who has been in major series like Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill, which I'll be mentioning later into the video. So going all the clues over here and putting them together, going off totally blind guessing here from the research I've done, I can probably say it safely that Trigger has been putting a lot of time in the storyboard and directing, whilst Cloverworks did majority of the labor work of animation. But shit, I don't work for a fucking anime studio that produces fucking anime, so for what the fuck do I know? You know, come to think of it, as much as I can remember, I can't really recall any events into the series where CGI has been used. All mecha fights were basically put together, which can make any anime fan go,
"Hey, that's pretty good."
And hardcore mecha fans go,
"Nice."
And trust me, there are bad mecha fucking CG out there. I mean, balls to the wall, bad shit, crazy horrible. The kind that gives you nightmares. So I'm grateful that Cloverworks did not invest in CG on this series, because that would be the end of it and I would not be reviewing this anymore. But if you're the type of dude who's okay with CGI, I mean, that's fine. I just want you to leave this goddamn video and rethink all the life choices you've made coming this point, because you're the reason why this world is fucking coming to an end. I'm just kidding. Come here, little boy. Come here, please, continue with the video. Okay. I start with the video. Alright, just for all you fellas out there, just note that this review will contain very minor spoilers, but I wouldn't say to the degree it'll hinder any kind of watch quality. I'll start this shit show by mentioning the setting is made very clear. We know where the story is taking place, so no 12-year-old anime-loving weeb can feel confused. Right off the bat, a lot of things are handed to you in a clear silver platter. But don't worry about it. First 3 episodes might have a lot of information, but most of those informations are pretty easy to digest. So being that easy, I didn't feel like I had to go back and watch the whole episode again, because majority of the time, my undeveloped primitive weeb mind can't read full text at 1 frame per nanosecond. But in all seriousness, Cloverworks and Trigger really did a great job into building such a interesting world that anyone like myself can get infatuated over. Alright, enough kissing ass. This will probably be the few things that I'll be actually praising about this series. But since we're talking about setting, did I ever mention Trigger Studios was co-founded by Hiroyuki Imashi, whom worked under Gurren Lagann as director, and Darling in the Franxx being directed and mainly written by Atsushi Nishigori, whom was the head character designer and animation director for Gurren Lagann also. So if you haven't catched on by now, what I'm trying to say is both Gurren Lagann and Darling in the Franxx share very same similarities in story and setting. But wait, I know, don't flame me yet. I know what you're thinking. No, absolutely fucking not. I'm not saying the show is terrible just because I feel like it's somewhat of a bold copy of some other anime they worked on. Fuck you for thinking that. Shit gets recycled all the time here in the anime universe, so goddamn shame on you. But Gurren Lagann sure did have a better execution. So yes, Darling in the Franxx feels like a mutilated version of Gurren Lagann, just with a more interesting love story. I'm not sure if it's just me, but this was painfully obvious to me even before I had the idea of even doing this video. Then when it came to do the necessary research, I couldn't help but bring it to my attention after putting all the dots together. But like I said, what the fuck do I know, really? I really don't know anything, you know. I could rewatch the whole series, both of them, and be totally wrong. They might not even be the same in any way. So it might be just me overthinking it. So just carry on and keep calling me a dumb ignorant weeb with no proper college education. Alright, now let's dive into the characters. So now the story revolves around basically 10 kids. Mr. Cliche, I suck at life, lovable waifu, Ms. Childhood Friend who loves our MC, Mr. Cool Childhood Friend, lovable fat kid, Mrs. I want to have kids even though I'm like 13, edgy teen boy, smart quiet girl who don't seem too important, loudmouth annoying kid, and tsundere. And yeah, wait, I know what you're thinking. Shit, that's a lot of characters. How do they even manage to make the show provide such great character development with only 24 episodes? Well, they didn't. They took in a bunch of cliches and stuck them in a mecha show. To its credit, what Darling Ramayas did right sometimes is how these kids interact between each other. In my vast puddle of anime knowledge, I haven't seen a show with so much character with personality that interact with each other so well. Majority of the time, you see these elements being used in slice of life genres just because it works better that way. A genre where everything is revolving around characters and character interactions with no sensible plot underlining or conflict. Each moment was very memorable and I saw myself equally loving everyone the same way, except Smart Girl who don't seem to be important. I didn't care much about her. Fuck, I don't know. It must have been hard to squeeze in such a pool of characters and have the series equally distributed showtime they actually had. That wouldn't actually hinder watch quality over. But of course, with such a pool of characters and only 24 episodes, and honestly it would fucking work better with only 12 to be honest, has its fair share of flaws. Especially when it's revolving around a main love interest, that shouldn't have made things much easier. So, the main love interest of the two MCs, Hero and 02, which is the main plot, is pretty straightforward. The story literally lays right out in front of you. Like I said, it's very easy to follow. However, subplots that scatter across the series like minor love interests seem very lacking in the development department. In my opinion, the show fails to deliver insight of key events that leads to the conclusion of the subplot, resulting into what the fuck moments where you feel confused. And no, not the confusion like plot twist, you literally feel confused when a climax or rising climax is delivered. Like for example, there's a lack of character progression which leads to unexpected and somewhat unnecessary resolutions. I mean, yes, a lot of animes take subplots to push in the main story development, but they do it correctly. However, in Darling, in the Fraxx's case, not so much. The subplots are executed out very poorly. The main story is still good by no means. I just think they squished in these subplots just to push forward the main story arc, feeling pretty rushed. Like this fucking commentary. I mean, don't feel bad when you feel like you don't understand something towards the end of the series. You'll get the basic what, why, when, where answers eventually in a one episode summary. From what I've read and watched throughout the anime community reaching its endpoint, there's a lot of complaints, and I don't blame them. I too also just had a small issue on how it was delivered, but this is just a personal preference of mine and other people. To its credit, this is not something I'd tell somebody that it'll hinder its watch quality for, because I think these kind of deliveries are subjective, mostly towards those fucking uncultured swines. But it's just my opinion, this, which is strictly, again, preference. You uncultured swines. This is where most of my complaints resonate from in Darling in My Ass. Near the end of the series, everything was pushed out so forcefully. It felt like SAO Season 1 all over again, but the only difference between SAO is you could actually stop watching midway through the series and feel some kind of satisfaction, which Drilling in My Asshole can't do. Like I said before, these unfinished plot holes make me want to pull out my hair and call up Itsushi Nishigori and tell him and his writing team that I'll fucking provide twice the budget compared to the one you were given to make this project in the first place and reset from episode fucking 15. So in conclusion, I did not hate the anime. I just have minor complaints, you know, like little ones that can go right through your head. You fucking normie fucks. Would I say Howl's Moving Castle sucks? Well, not until episode 15. Just fucking stop watching till episode 15, then you're good to go.